Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. If you have not heard, it is currently raining exclusive exotics within the game, at least some of them, right? This year's winter event is offering the Eagle Bear, the Ouroboros, and the Regulus at some of the highest rates we've ever seen outside of their original drop sources. And so whether it's on YouTube comments, Reddit, Discord, wherever, I have seen an absolute flood of people this past week saying, just got my first Eagle Bear. Some people after years of trying. Now within that surge of new Eagle Bear owners specifically, I've also seen some follow-up comments which led me to making this video. On the one hand, new owners are curious as to what loadouts might be good to use with it, which is a question that I want to give my answer to. But then I've also seen a few people dragging it through the mud. Now, of course, weapon and build preference is subjective. Nobody is required to like any particular item within the game. But between the claims I have seen that the Eagle Bear is straight up bad to those saying that it'll be a nice dust collector within the stash, it's getting a pretty bad rap right now. Now, I of course am not going to try and claim that the Eagle Bear is nearly as powerful as it was back when it first released. That was when it was in a class of its own, and I did a video covering some of that history, if you're interested. But I think today, the Eagle Bear remains far more potent than many will give it credit for, and I will absolutely stand by the fact that its talent allows you to do things that no other item in the Division 2 does. Now, I'll also be upfront about it. Am I a bit biased here? Yes, the Eagle Bear is my all-time favorite weapon in the Division 2, but I did not just come here with words to try and convince you. Instead, take a look at this. Alright, so this is the build that you just saw in that gameplay, and it is hands down my top recommendation if you are looking for any kind of a starter build to put the Eagle Bear in. This is actually kind of a template that I used years ago in a build video that a lot of people liked back then. I've modernized it a little bit with some more recent additions, but in general, it's very simple and very effective. To begin though, we have to look at the Eagle Bear itself. This is the crown jewel, right? The thing that we're talking about. I think the big reason why not a lot of people enjoy the Eagle Bear nowadays is that its talent used to offer you both offense and defense, and that just made it a really good all-around item. They've stripped most of the offense away. It is now a very defensive-focused talent, and compared to its pretty difficult handling compared to a lot of other weapons, that means that it is a pretty high-risk, high-reward gun. You either use it well and lean into its talent, or you don't utilize it that much, and then it ends up feeling kind of flat compared to other options. But as you saw in the gameplay, when you capitalize correctly on the talent, that is when this thing really soars. No pun intended. So the talent gets a bit wordy, but I can kind of break it down more simplistically here. When you get headshot kills, you then get a 15-second period of delayed and reduced damage. The amount of that reduced damage is based on how accurate your previous magazine was. And if you then continue to get kills, that means that that reduced damage is negated entirely, right? You do not take it when the buff expires. So, in higher end content like Legendary or Master where you have some more tanky enemies, the Eagle Bear is not always going to be the best pick. Because to fully utilize the talent, you have to ensure that you're getting those consistent kills. But in content where there is a lot more cannon fodder, like retaliations that you saw in the gameplay, that is where this can really excel, because you just get one headshot kill, and then you then just get to slay out. You don't have to worry about cover, you can just keep shooting. And that, in my opinion, is what sets this gun and talent apart from anything else we have in the game. When used in the right hands, the survivability here is off the charts, and it allows you to purely focus on damage, and that is a very valuable tool. So, what is the build then that we have backing this up? Well, we have 4 pieces of Striker, which is no huge shock. It is the strongest and frankly easiest to use damage set in the game, so we're pairing it here. And what's nice about its pairing with Tenacity is that once you proc it and get that headshot kill, you can build and maintain your stacks very easily because you do not have to worry about going back into cover. You can just stay out in the fight and keep shooting. So even though we are not using the Striker's chest piece or backpack, you still get an incredible amount of value from this. What we are using here, though, is the new Equalizer chess piece that just released this season. Previously, I might have had a Fenris or Cheska chess piece here with Obliterate, but now we have Perfect Obliterate on Unit Alloy, so we're using that. And from the 5% rate of fire on the brand bonus there, and the 15 from Striker, that means that our Eagle Bearer by base has over 1000 RPM. So it's a bit of a fire hose, and not everybody is going to like that with the recoil pattern that this gun has. But if you use it for long enough, you'll learn it, and when you can control it, it's incredibly strong. Finally, then, we have the Memento Exotic Backpack. Now, once again, not everybody might go for this. You might choose a Striker backpack and use a different exotic, but especially if you're going to be in solo play, although this does work in groups too, the Memento makes up for some of those other shortcomings of the build and just turns you into that one-man army. It's very fun. And again, in content like Open World or Retaliations, where you're not going to be resetting the bonus very often of that long-term buff, 30% damage, 3% armor regen, like, that's unbeatable. Other than that, we do have one additional blue core on our gloves here, just because the 2 blue core makes the bonus armor pickup value quite nice, in my opinion. But other than that roll, which you could put on any core attribute on any piece, we just have crit and weapon damage everywhere across the build. The other kind of underrated aspect about the Eagle Bearer, in my opinion, is its mods. Quite nice with 15% crit chance and 20% crit damage. And with a built-in 30-round mag, you just have a very nicely rounded weapon. To give you a final look here at the total crit stats on the EB, I'm hitting 55% crit chance, 113 crit damage. And again, for running no brand bonuses that have crit, even running the Memento, which can get a minor stat, that is a pretty good distribution, not achievable by many guns. But the Eagle Bearer takes us there, and that just makes it that much better. So there you have it, folks. If you are a brand new Eagle Bearer owner and you were looking for some build ideas, maybe that one will click with you. Or if you're somebody who thought that this thing was a straight to stash item, maybe this helped illuminate things a little bit. Again, the Eagle Bearer is definitely one of the higher skill weapons in the Division 2. It's not nearly as plug and play as the St. Elmo's or other guns, but when used correctly, it can be very rewarding. So overall, I hope this video helped somebody out. Before we wrap up, since I didn't get a chance to do so in the intro, I wanted to give a major shout out and thank you to our channel members. It is your ongoing generosity that allows me to do what I do here on the channel so consistently, so thank you for that support. As always though, after watching through this, any thoughts you may have on the Eagle Bearer or whatever else, just let me know down below. I look forward to reading through your thoughts and discussions, which I'm sure will have no divisiveness whatsoever. But yeah, that's all I've got for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and until I see you next, RogueGold out.